Welcome back. It's the first time we're actually been prepared for when it starts, huh? Welcome back to Paving the Way. I'm Jonathan Brown with B&M Builders.
Patrick Mullen.
Here with Patrick Mullen. And once again, we brought back Professor Seth Maxey.
First time I've been the professor, so
Yes.
I'm gonna get used to it too, just like you guys. I'm gonna be Seth Maxey, but if you want to throw in the professor, I like my ego.
Pat can be the skipper.
It's an honor to be here with the professor. I'll tell you that much.
It's an honor to bless you with my presence.
Yeah. So today we're gonna
all mine.
Oh, this could go.
Today we're going to talk about asphalt overlays, actually. This is a topic that's been coming up a lot, so we thought we would kind of address it and bring some light to what we do here. Someone want to talk about what an asphalt overlay is?
An asphalt overlay, I can answer pretty quickly, is an asphalt overlay is we're just putting new asphalt over your existing asphalt. It's just it freshens up your existing asphalt with new asphalt. We pave it roughly about 1.5 inches, and the reason is because we use a 1/2 inch material. Standards are we usually pave 3 times the size of the aggregate, so we go down to a minimum of 1.5 inches on the overlay, and that's just basically redoing your asphalt with a very solid base of your existing parking lot. There's a lot of pre-work to do. We can get into that as far as grinding along concrete where we have to tie in flush with the new asphalt, and driveways, raising valve boxes and
ADA accessible areas.
Let me go back real quick, Seth. I got a question for you. So
Absolutely.
we've done a lot of talking about, because we have seal coats. Like once we do a parking lot, like everything falls back to water, keeping water out of your subgrade. That's how we keep your parking lot and your asphalt strong and sturdy throughout its life. So how do I know the difference if someone has no idea what they're talking about? How do I know the difference of when I would need a seal coat compared to when I would need an overlay?
A seal coat, the way I like to reference a seal coat is like changing the oil in your car. It's a preventative maintenance program. You want to do that. Usually plan on doing it every 4 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years, depending on the traffic in your parking lot. An overlay is going to be once now the parking lot has got some pretty severe cracking, to where the crack fill is just a waste of money at that point. But your asphalt is still in a stable enough condition to withhold the new asphalt.
So like more cracks, more larger cracks. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, more
Maybe.
larger cracks. The big grouping of cracks that we call alligatoring, that looks like alligator skin. If the asphalt within those alligator areas are moving and not stable, we would definitely want to remove those out and replace it with some asphalt first before we do the overlay. The whole key thing is just making sure your sub base that you're putting the new asphalt on is stable.
So if I get my parking lot done, and then in 3 years or 5 years, I give it a seal coat, and then another 3 to 5 years come up, I probably give it another seal coat, right?
Correct.
So this is now the seal coats are going to keep the water out of the sub base. It's going to stop the major cracking, stop the alligator and things like that, right?
It's also going to help retain the oils that are in your asphalt, keep them in, so they're just not baking away slow. They help slow down the degradation of the oils in the asphalt.
So maintaining it by giving the seal coats and keeping your cracks so that they're sealed and not letting water in. I mean, that's going to extend the life before you would need an overlay. Is that?
Yeah, a seal coat isn't meant for sealing cracks. It's more of a paint. The crack fill, the hot rubber crack fill, is going to be more of sealing the cracks.
Okay.
It's just a better product to fill the cracks with. The seal coat it's almost like a paint for your parking lot.
Okay.
It's a very thin application, and like I said, it keeps your parking lot looking uniform.
It's more of a look thing than a fix all thing.
And it keeps it from raveling if you're doing an ADA overlay and you've got some areas that are feathered.
So now I've got a parking lot that's all cracked. It's got some alligator and got some bad spots, and now it's a candidate for an overlay, which you said probably about 1.5 inches is the minimum. How thick could you go on an overlay?
We could pave.
You could pave as much as you want. Okay.
I've done some handicap overlays where we've had to raise the low corners up to 12 inches.
Okay.
You just do it in multiple layers so you can achieve your compaction.
All right. How long would an overlay last?
That all depends on how you treat it. If you pave it and forget it and just let it sit there and go to waste, it won't last as long. But if you keep up on your preventative maintenance, such as your crack fill and your seal coats and cleanliness to make sure that the water is flowing where it's supposed to go and not just sitting in one spot, those are all the things that are going to take the life away from your asphalt. So I would expect your asphalt overlays to last anywhere from 15 to 30 years, depending on the use and how you care for it.
So making sure that if you make repairs that are necessary before you do the overlay. There's a lot of guys out there that will just overlay anything and leave everything,
Like
and
the
it'll look
potholes.
good for a couple of years. But it could start cracking as soon as 3 months.
Like
after.
alligator areas
The
and potholes
alligator
type thing, yeah.
areas,
Or bad
potholes,
subgrade.
bigger areas, bad subgrade.
So say I have a parking lot that, it's got some alligator, it's got some potholes. I mean, it's not in the best shape, but it's not completely ruined. What would be a better choice for me to do, like a complete remove and replace or an overlay? Like, are they the same? Is it going to be the same finished product, or is one going to be better than the other?
I would say the overlay is going to be cost effective. If your parking lot's not completely garbage, I guess we could use as a word. Once your parking lot gets to where, like I said, where the asphalt's moving, if you see a car drive over it and those little alligator areas and the asphalt's moving, now we got a little serious issue underneath the asphalt that we need to address before doing any type of overlay. So that would be more along the lines of a remove and replace, so we can address your subgrade issues.
Okay, so I know a remove and replace is going to be better long term, but the overlay is going to be more. It's going to be more cost effective and still give you a really good product.
And there's also a couple ways to make an overlay last longer and work better overall. You can put down a Petromat. Seth can explain kind of what that is.
A Petromat paving fabric is laid down. It's just a very thin fabric that's laid over, say, an alligator area, and it's used as kind of like a bridge to prevent those underlying cracks from reflecting through your new asphalt.
So it'll just help those areas stay newer looking for longer.
Correct.
And then there's also fiber that you can mix in that definitely adds cost to the overall pave, but also it adds a lot of time, a lot of longevity to the parking lot.
It adds a definite amount of strength to the asphalt. So when the underlying cracks are under there and they're starting to move, the fiber within the new asphalt on the top holds it together. It strengthens it so they won't separate with the same cracks underneath.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Seth, but I believe we bid some jobs where we bid them as a Petromat, but then we came back with a fiber price because it can actually bring the price down from a Petromat to use fiber. And the fiber companies they claim that their fiber will last as long as a Petromat because it builds a better product with the asphalt. Is that?
That is true.
Okay.
At some point, the price does equal out depending on the square footage. A smaller parking lot, of course, adding fabric or fiber to your mix is going to be cheaper than bringing out a whole crew to lay the Petromat fabric down.
So they come in and they have to spray an oil, a thick oil over all of the existing asphalt, and then they have a truck that spreads out, a 6 to 10 foot roll of this fabric, and they push that into the oil. It absorbs into the oil and it sticks it to the ground and helps create a bridge so that the fabric doesn't doesn't move.
Cool.
Before you pave.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty good, right? That's a pretty good description of an overlay, I believe. A question that we did have that had kind of come up was the grade of the asphalt. I think that's probably, the grade of the asphalt, it's just going to be a rock size, right? Asphalt is asphalt unless you're talking about a rubber or something different, but are there different, that'd really just be a rock size, right, Seth?
Yeah, the gradation of the aggregate within the asphalt is the grade. Like I was saying earlier, you want to be at least a minimum of 3 times the aggregate size. Like within schools, like the playgrounds, they want a smoother surface where the kids are running around. So you'll use a 3/8 rock. A lot of your parking lots are going to be more of your 1/2 inch. And then your trucking yards or more of your weight, you're going to use more of a 3/4 aggregate, which is going to be a stronger material. It just won't look as pretty because the aggregate's bigger. So yes, that's what it all basically boils down to, is the size of your grade of your rock.
So that's one thing I kind of want to point on that I was thinking of too. It's not necessarily just an overlay thing. This is more of just an asphalt thing. But so the bigger the rock, the stronger the product that you get.
I believe so.
Because
That's
it's a larger rock, so they can grab onto each other, they can kind of compact into each other, and it kind of locks everything in.
Correct.
So like you were saying, it's not as smooth. Like a 1/2 inch rock is gonna make it look really, really smooth, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And the 3/4 is gonna make it look
More coarse.
more coarse. And we've actually we've had situations where we've done a 3/4 base and then come back and done the final lift with a 1/2 inch also, right? So I mean,
Correct.
it gives you the nice look, but it gives you that much stronger sub base underneath too.
That's correct.
Cool. Pat, you have any knowledge as the apprentice professor that maybe you could?
My understudy.
Yes.
Nothing more than.
Sorry, let me
Well said,
rephrase.
Scott.
Seth's understudy. Do you have any?
No, sir.
No, sir. All right. Well, I think we're good. Well, I look forward to more questions. Please drop them in the comments below. Reach out to us on social. Give us any questions that you have. I'd love to get them answered. And I think we're good. Instagram, Facebook, bm-builders.com, LinkedIn. Check us out everywhere. And thank you again, Professor.
Sure.
And understudy.
Call in and ask for the professor.
Thanks for joining.